Close your eyes for just a moment. I want you to think about where you are right now in your life. Not where you want to be. Not where you dreamed you would be at this age. But where you actually are, right now, today, in this very moment. Maybe you are sitting alone in a room, and the silence around you feels heavier than anything you have ever carried. Maybe you are lying in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, and the thoughts in your head won't stop. Thoughts that say, you failed. You are too late. You missed your chance. Nobody cares about you. Things will never get better. Maybe you have been rejected so many times that you have started to believe that rejection is all you deserve. Maybe you worked so hard, harder than anyone around you, and still, nothing worked out the way you planned. Maybe you gave your heart to someone, and they left. And now you are sitting with pieces of yourself, wondering if you will ever feel whole again. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe your business failed. Maybe your family is falling apart. Maybe your health is breaking down. Maybe your dreams feel so far away that they don't even feel like dreams anymore, they feel like cruel jokes. If any of this sounds like your life right now, I need you to stop. I need you to breathe. And I need you to listen to what I am about to tell you. Because what I am about to say to you, it is not just words. It is not just motivation that will fade by tomorrow morning. What I am about to share with you, it has the power to completely change the way you see your life. God is saying to you today, I have an amazing plan for your life. Not a mediocre plan. Not a, just okay, plan. Not a, you'll survive, plan. An amazing plan. And today, I am going to show you exactly why you need to believe that, even when everything around you is telling you the opposite. Let me ask you something honest. When was the last time you truly believed that your life was going somewhere great? When was the last time you woke up in the morning with fire in your chest, believing that today was going to be a great day, that this week was going to be different, that this year was going to be your year? For most people, that feeling disappeared somewhere along the way. It disappeared the first time someone laughed at your dreams. It disappeared when you failed your exam, when you didn't get the job, when the person you loved walked away. It disappeared when you looked at others around you, people your age, people who started after you, and saw them succeeding, thriving, living the life you dreamed of. While you were still standing in the same place, wondering what was wrong with you. And slowly, quietly, without even realizing it, you stopped believing. You stopped believing that good things could happen to you. You stopped believing that you were special, that you were chosen, that you had a purpose. You started to think, maybe I am just not meant for great things. Maybe this is just my life. Maybe I should just accept it and move on. And that thought, that single, quiet, devastating thought, is the most dangerous thing that has ever entered your mind. Because the moment you stop believing in your story, you stop writing it. The moment you give up on your plan, you hand the pen to someone else, to your circumstances, to your past, to other people's opinions, and you let them write your future for you. And that is not why you were created. I want to tell you something that nobody around you may be saying right now. Your struggle is not a sign that God has forgotten you. Your struggle is not proof that you are a failure. Your struggle is not evidence that you are cursed, that you are unlucky, that you are less than anyone else. Your struggle is actually something far more powerful than you realize. Think about gold for a moment. Gold is one of the most precious, most valuable things on this earth. People have gone to war over gold. Empires have been built on it. It has been treasured for thousands of years. But do you know what gold looks like before it becomes gold? Before it becomes the shining, beautiful, precious metal that everyone wants, gold is buried deep in the earth, surrounded by dirt and rock and darkness. And before it can be worn as a crown, before it can be held as a treasure, before it can be valued by the world, gold has to go through fire. It has to be melted down. It has to face extreme heat. Every impurity in it has to be burned away. It has to go through a process that, if gold had feelings, would be the most painful experience imaginable. And only after that fire, Only after that heat. Only after that process of being broken down and refined. Does gold become what it was always meant to be. Now I want you to think about your life. I want you to think about the fire you are going through right now. The rejection. The failure. The heartbreak. The loneliness. The confusion. The waiting. What if, this is not punishment? What if this is preparation? What if the fire you are walking through right now is not destroying you, but refining you? What if God is not ignoring you, but instead, He is crafting you? Shaping you? Preparing you for something so great, so powerful, so beautiful that you cannot even imagine it right now? Because here is what I know to be true. The people who go through the deepest valleys are often the ones who reach the highest peaks. The people who face the darkest nights are often the ones who shine the brightest when the light finally comes. The people who cry the most tears are often the ones who laugh the loudest when joy finally arrives. Your struggle is not the end of your story. It is the middle. And the middle is always the hardest part. But it is also the most important part. Because this is where your character is being built. This is where your strength is being forged. This is where you are being shaped into the person you need to become, to handle the amazing things that God has planned for you. I want to tell you a story. There was a young man. He was born into a family that loved him deeply. He had big dreams. He had gifts and talents that were obvious to everyone around him. But one day, everything changed. His own brothers, the people who were supposed to love him and protect him, turned against him. They threw him into a pit. And then they sold him into slavery. He went from being a beloved son to being a slave in a foreign land, surrounded by people who didn't speak his language, in a culture he didn't understand, with no money, no family, no hope. And just when things started to get a little better in that foreign land, when he found favor, when he started to rise again, he was falsely accused of something he didn't do. And he was thrown into prison. Now put yourself in his position. You are in prison. You did nothing wrong. Your own family betrayed you. Your dreams feel like a distant memory. And every single day, the walls around you remind you that your life is not going the way it was supposed to go. If you were that person, would you still believe that God had an amazing plan for your life? Most of us would say no. Most of us would be angry. Most of us would give up. Most of us would say, if there is a God, He has clearly forgotten about me. But this young man's name was Joseph. And you may already know how his story ends. That same young man who was thrown in a pit by his brothers, who was sold into slavery, who was thrown into prison for something he didn't do, became the second most powerful man in all of Egypt. He went from the prison to the palace. He went from the pit to the pinnacle. And when he finally stood before his brothers, the same brothers who had betrayed him, he said something that I want you to never forget. He said, "You intended to harm me. But God intended it for good. You intended to harm me. But God intended it for good." What looked like the worst thing that could ever happen to someone was actually the path leading to the most incredible destiny imaginable. And I need you to hear this, because maybe right now, you are in your pit. Maybe you are in your prison. Maybe your brothers have betrayed you. Maybe life has thrown you into a place that feels dark and hopeless and wrong. But God is saying to you today, I have an amazing plan for your life. And just like Joseph, what others meant for your harm, God is turning for your good. One of the greatest thieves of peace and purpose in our generation is comparison. We look at other people's lives, especially on social media, and we see their highlight reels. Their successes. Their smiling photos. Their announcements of promotions, marriages, businesses launched, goals achieved. And we compare that to our behind the scenes. We compare their chapter 10 to our chapter 1. We compare their harvest season to our planting season. And we begin to think, why them and not me? What is wrong with me? Why is everyone else moving forward while I am stuck? But here is what nobody tells you. You don't know what that person went through before that photo was taken. You don't know how many nights they cried themselves to sleep. How many times they failed before they succeeded. How many doors were slammed in their face before one finally opened. How many people told them they were crazy, that their dreams were impossible, that they should just give up. You see the crown, but you don't see the cross they carried to get there. And more importantly, their timeline is not your timeline. God did not create a one-size-fits-all plan for human beings. He created a unique, specific, deeply personal plan for every single soul that walks this earth. And your plan, your specific, unique, beautiful, challenging, glorious plan, is unfolding at exactly the right pace for exactly who you are and exactly what you are meant to become. A flower does not bloom faster by being compared to another flower. It blooms when its season comes. When the conditions are right. When the roots are deep enough. When the time is right. And your season is coming. Your bloom is coming. But you have to stop looking at someone else's garden and start tending to your own. Waiting is one of the hardest things a human being can do. We live in a world of instant everything. Instant food. Instant messages. Instant entertainment. Instant results. We are not built for waiting anymore. And so when life asks us to wait, when God's plan requires us to be patient, it feels unbearable. But I want to teach you something about waiting. Waiting is not wasted time. Waiting, when done right, is preparation time. Think about a pilot. Before a pilot can fly a plane, before they can sit in that cockpit and take hundreds of passengers safely across the sky, they spend years in training. Years of studying, of practicing in simulators, of learning from more experienced pilots, of failing in controlled environments so they don't fail in real ones. And during all of those years of training, that pilot might look out the window and see planes flying overhead and think, when will it be my turn? But if that pilot skipped the training, if they got into the cockpit too early, before they were ready, they wouldn't just fail. They would crash. And they would take everyone around them down with them. Your waiting season is your training season. God is not withholding your blessings from you because He doesn't love you. He is preparing you because He loves you too much to give you something you are not ready for. He is building in you the wisdom, the character, the strength, the patience, the humility that you will need, to carry what He is about to give you. So while you wait, here is what you must do. First, keep moving. Don't stop. Don't sit down. Don't give up. Every single day, take one step forward. It doesn't have to be a big step. It just has to be forward. Read that book. Send that message. Apply for that opportunity. Learn that skill. Make that phone call. Show up, even when you don't feel like it. Movement, even small movement, tells the universe that you are ready. Second, stay grateful. This is hard. I know it is hard. But gratitude is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. When you choose to be grateful, even in the middle of your struggle, you shift your focus from what you don't have to what you do have. And what you focus on, grows. Every morning, before you do anything else, find 3 things to be grateful for. They don't have to be big things. The air in your lungs. The roof over your head. The fact that you woke up today with another chance to try again. Gratitude opens doors that complaining keeps shut. Third, protect your mind. What you feed your mind becomes what you believe. And what you believe becomes what you experience. If you spend your days consuming negative news, negative conversations, negative thoughts, your mind will become a dark place. And from a dark place, it is very hard to see the light. Be careful what you listen to. Be careful who you spend your time with. Be careful what voices you allow to speak into your life. Choose voices that build you up. Choose content that strengthens your faith. Choose people who remind you of your greatness, not people who remind you of your limitations. Fourth, pray. Or meditate. or whatever connects you to something greater than yourself. There is a power in surrender. There is a strength in saying, I don't have all the answers. I don't understand what is happening. But I trust that there is a plan. And I trust that plan. That surrender is not weakness. That surrender is the most courageous thing a human being can do. Let me tell you about some of the most successful, most impactful, most celebrated people in human history. And let me tell you about the moment, the specific moment, when each of them almost gave up. The man who was fired from his own company. He started a company from scratch with passion and vision. He built it into something incredible. And then, the people he had hired, the board he had trusted, they fired him. From his own company. The company he had created. The company he had poured his soul into. He was humiliated. He was devastated. He said later that he felt like a public failure, that everything he had worked for had been stripped away. But he didn't give up. He started again. He built new things. He learned. He grew. He became wiser and stronger. And then, years later, that same company he had been fired from brought him back. And under his leadership, it became one of the most valuable companies in the history of the world. That man was Steve Jobs. And that company was Apple. The woman who was told she was not enough. She was born into poverty. She grew up in difficult circumstances. She faced abuse, rejection, and failure. She got a job as a television anchor, and she was fired. She was told she was too emotional. Too soft. That she didn't have what it took. She went home that night feeling like the world had confirmed what she had always feared, that she was not enough. But she kept going. She kept showing up. She kept believing. And today, she is one of the most powerful, most beloved, most influential women on the planet. Her name is Oprah Winfrey. And the same qualities they fired her for, her emotion, her warmth, her ability to connect, became the very things that made her extraordinary. The author who was rejected 12 times. She was a single mother. She was living on welfare. She was so poor that she could barely feed herself and her daughter. She had an idea for a story about a young wizard, a magical school, a world of wonder and adventure. She wrote the book. She sent it to publishers. And she was rejected. And rejected. And rejected again. 12 times, she was told no. 12 times, she was told that her book would never sell. 12 times, the world tried to convince her that her dream was not worth believing in. But she sent it out a 13th time. And that book, and the series that followed, became the most successful book series in history. The author's name is J.K. Rowling. And her story, Harry Potter, has been read by hundreds of millions of people around the world. The man who failed in business, twice. He started a business and it failed. He lost everything. He started again. And it failed again. He went into debt. His personal life fell apart. He struggled with depression. He ran for public office and lost. Again and again, life seemed to be telling him, you are not meant for this. Give up. But he didn't give up. He kept going. He kept trying. He kept believing. And eventually, this man became the President of the United States during one of the most critical moments in his country's history. He led his nation through a war. He signed one of the most important documents in human history. He is remembered as one of the greatest leaders the world has ever known. His name was Abraham Lincoln. Now I want you to notice something about every single one of these stories. In each one, there was a moment, a real, painful, devastating moment, when giving up seemed like the most logical thing to do. When the circumstances were so difficult, so overwhelming, so crushing, that walking away seemed not just acceptable but necessary. And in each one, the difference between a story of failure and a story of triumph was one single choice. The choice to keep going. The choice to believe, even when there was no visible evidence, that something better was coming. The choice to trust the plan, even when the plan made no sense. And I am telling you today, your story is not over. The chapter you are in right now is not the last chapter. God is saying to you today, I have an amazing plan for your life. And the stories of Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, J.K. Rowling, and Abraham Lincoln, they are just human echoes of a divine truth. That the darkest chapter often comes right before the breakthrough. That the deepest valley is often right before the highest mountain. That the moment of greatest pain is often the moment of greatest transformation. I want to spend a moment on that one word. Amazing. God is saying to you today, I have an amazing plan for your life. Not a good plan. Not a decent plan. Not a, you'll be okay, plan. An amazing plan. What does amazing actually mean? Amazing means beyond what you can currently imagine. Amazing means bigger than your current vision of yourself. Amazing means more beautiful, more fulfilling, more purposeful than anything you have been able to dream up on your own. And here is the thing about amazing plans, they rarely look amazing at the beginning. A caterpillar, wrapped in a cocoon, in the dark, alone, does not look like it is becoming something amazing. It looks like it is dying. But inside that dark cocoon, something miraculous is happening. The caterpillar is not dying, it is being transformed. It is being completely remade. Every single part of it is being restructured, rebuilt, redesigned, so that when it finally emerges, it will not be what it was. It will be something with wings. It will be something that can fly. And you, in your cocoon right now, in your darkness, in your struggle, you are not dying. You are being transformed. You are being rebuilt. You are being redesigned. So that when you finally emerge, and you will emerge, you will not be who you were. You will be something greater. Something stronger. Something wiser. Something with wings. And you will fly. I want you to imagine something. I want you to imagine that it is 5 years from now. 5 years from today. And I want you to imagine that everything God planned for you has come to pass. The struggles you are going through right now, they are over. The tears you are crying right now, they have dried. The questions you are asking right now, they have been answered. And you are standing in a place, a beautiful, peaceful, purposeful place, that you could not have even imagined from where you are today. You have found your purpose. You are doing work that matters. You are surrounded by people who love you and value you. You have peace, real, deep, unshakable peace, in your heart. And from that place, from that future version of yourself, you turn around and you look back at this moment. You look back at this exact day, this exact struggle, this exact pain. And you say, I am so glad I didn't give up. I am so glad I kept going. I am so glad I trusted the plan, even when I couldn't see it. Because everything I am standing in right now, everything I have, everything I've become, everyone I love, none of it would have happened if I had stopped here. That is the message from your future self to your present self. Don't stop here. Don't give up at this chapter. Don't close the book before the story is finished. Because the best is not behind you. The best, the most beautiful, the most fulfilling, the most extraordinary chapters of your life, they are still ahead of you. God is saying to you today, I have an amazing plan for your life. And that plan has not been cancelled. That plan has not been delayed. That plan is actively, beautifully, powerfully unfolding, right now, in ways you cannot yet see, in ways you cannot yet understand. Trust it. We have come a long way together in this video. And now I want to bring everything together, because there is a choice in front of you. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not when things get better or easier or clearer. Today. Right now. You have a choice. You can choose to listen to the voice of your circumstances, the voice that says you are too late, too broken, too far behind, too damaged, too ordinary. Or you can choose to listen to a different voice. The voice that has been speaking to you since before you were born. The voice that knew you before the world did. The voice that placed dreams inside of you, dreams that have survived every storm, every failure, every heartbreak, every dark night. The voice that is saying to you, right now, today, in this moment, I have an amazing plan for your life. That is the choice. And I want to tell you what happens when you choose to believe. When you choose to believe, something shifts inside you. It doesn't mean your problems disappear overnight. It doesn't mean the road suddenly becomes easy. It doesn't mean you stop having hard days. But something shifts. Your eyes start to see differently. Where you once saw only obstacles, you start to see opportunities. Where you once saw only closed doors, you start to notice windows opening. Where you once felt only the weight of what you've lost, you start to feel the possibility of what you are about to gain. You start to move differently. With purpose. With courage. With a quiet confidence that says, I don't know exactly how this is going to work out. But I know it is going to work out. And that confidence, that faith, that unshakable belief in the plan. That is what changes everything. Because faith is not passive. Faith is not sitting on your couch, waiting for good things to fall from the sky. Faith is getting up every single morning and taking action, even when you are scared. Even when you are tired. Even when it doesn't seem to be working. Faith is doing the work, even when you can't see the results yet. Faith is planting the seed, even when you can't see the harvest. Faith is taking the step, even when you can't see the staircase. And God honors that kind of faith. He sees every step you take in the darkness. He counts every tear you cry in private. He knows every sacrifice you make when nobody is watching. And He is saying to you, I see you. I know you. I have not forgotten you. And I have an amazing plan for your life. Want to say one more thing before we close? Your pain has a purpose. I know that sounds difficult to hear. I know that when you are in the middle of pain, the last thing you want to hear is that it has a purpose. But stay with me. Every scar you carry, every wound, every failure, every heartbreak, it is not just part of your story. It is going to become part of someone else's rescue. There is someone out there, right now, who is going through exactly what you went through. Who is feeling exactly what you felt. Who is standing at the edge of giving up, just like you once stood. And they are waiting for someone who has been through the fire and come out the other side. They are waiting for someone who can look them in the eyes and say, I know how dark this is. I know how heavy this feels. But I made it through. And so will you. That person is you. Your mess is going to become your message. Your test is going to become your testimony. Your pain is going to become your power. But only if you don't give up. Only if you keep going. Only if you choose, every single day, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard, to believe. To believe that this is not the end. To believe that the story is still being written. To believe that God has not forgotten you. To believe, with everything in you, that these words are true. Before I let you go, I want to speak directly to your heart. Wherever you are right now. Whatever you are going through. However long you have been waiting, struggling, hoping, praying. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not a mistake. You were created on purpose, for a purpose, with a purpose. And the God who created the mountains and the oceans, the stars and the galaxies, the intricate miracle of your own heartbeat. That same God knows your name. He knows your story. He knows your pain. He knows your dreams. And He is working, right now, in ways you cannot see, in ways you cannot yet understand, to bring about something so beautiful in your life that when you finally see it, you will not be able to stop the tears of gratitude that pour down your face. The waiting is not wasted. The struggle is not pointless. The darkness is not permanent. And you incredible, resilient, chosen, purposeful human being. You have not come this far to give up now. You have not survived everything you have survived, just to stop here. You have not cried those tears, fought those battles, carried those burdens, just for it to end in defeat. No. You have come this far because there is something on the other side of this that is worth fighting for. There is a version of your life, a beautiful, purposeful, joy-filled version, that is waiting for you. And the only thing standing between you and that life is this moment. This choice. Right now. Will you believe? Will you trust? Will you keep going? I believe you will. Because you are still here. You watched this video all the way to the end. And that means, deep down, underneath all the doubt and the fear and the pain, there is still a part of you that believes. A part of you that knows your story isn't over. A part of you that is still holding on. Hold on a little longer. Keep going a little further. Trust a little deeper. Because God is saying to you today, and He means every single word, I have an amazing plan for your life. And that plan, that amazing, beautiful, powerful, life-changing plan, it starts today. It starts now. It starts with you.